Hey guys, Eric with Legacy of the Gun. So the video that we dropped this past week on the Boa, there's been a lot of comments. There's been a lot of conversation, not only on YouTube, but I've seen it on Facebook. I've kind of seen it all over the place. And there's a lot of, there's criticism, frankly. And then there's questions. But a lot of conversation surrounding, of course, the Boa and the fact that it's basically a Python barrel on a Python frame. And I kind of wanted to do a follow-up video and kind of address some of those comments, questions, conversations. And actually, I'm going to pull up some of the actual comments from the last video here on YouTube and kind of speak to those directly. Like, this isn't a rebuttal of anything. Like, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Even after this video, if there's something that you kind of agree with, something that you don't agree with, let me know. I'm really curious because the way that this new bow is being perceived is really kind of a unique thing within the Colt stratosphere, right? It's not something that's really happened previously, at least not like this. And so I think it's really interesting, some of the conversations that have been going on behind it. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull up here just kind of some of the comments that were made on the last video. And first of all, so I brought an original Python out here. This is actually, which one is this? This is serial number 81, Colt Python. So when you want to talk about early guns, it doesn't get any earlier than this. If you like early Pythons, I've got another video out there on serial number 80 and 81. This is 81. So I wanted to bring two guns to compare, since we are talking about the Python versus the Boa here, just so you guys can kind of see, kind of some of the similarities, differences, whatever, between the two guns. Of course, this is not an original Boa. This is the 2026 Boa, just to be clear. So I want to address some of the comments specifically. And so somebody had commented on here. This is the comment that kind of got the most likes. It looks like it's just kind of a generic username, user UB9XW8. But he said, so it's a Colt Python with different sights, grips, and branding. Okay, if you're going to boil it down, to an extent, yes. But this is where I think some of the historical context really plays in here. So bear with me here a little bit, guys. So the original Boa, and I'm sure you guys already know this, came out obviously in the mid 80s. Back then, at that time, the Python barrels were so notoriously accurate. Everybody loved them. And so people were taking Python barrels and they were putting them on Smith & Wesson Model 19s, Ruger Security 6s. They were putting they were mating a Python barrel to other guns. And so Colt said, well, okay, well, if everybody's doing that, if everybody really likes the Python barrel, let's do something else, because Python was a lot more expensive at the time. So let's take our Python barrel and let's put it on something else that we already had in-house, and so we can offer another gun. So they took the Python barrel, or a rendition of it, right? Like it was similar to a Python barrel, and they put it on the Trooper Mark V frame action. So from the beginning, the Colt Boa was never truly a completely unique, new, different offering from Colt. Yes, it was a conglomeration. It was a different gun, but it was using existing Colt platforms from the beginning. And so a lot of the criticism today that I'm hearing is, well, it's a Python frame. They threw a Boa barrel on it. Well, yeah, but the original Boa was a Trooper frame with a Boa barrel on it. So where do I get, that you're going to have some people that, okay, well, we're purists, right? We got to go back to that original Boa. This is not truly an exact reproduction of the original Boa. Okay, let's go there for a second. So Colt took an existing product line, the Python frame and action, and repurposed, put a Boa barrel on it, and put it out there as the reintroduced Colt Boa. We've got a lot of people that are saying, well, I don't like the fact that it's a Python frame. You might as well go buy a new Python. Well, okay, go buy a new Python. That's fine if that's what you want. This is not a Python. This is a Boa. Just like the original gun, it wasn't a Trooper and it wasn't a Python. It was a Boa. And so Colt did the same thing here. We're kind of meshing these two here together. And I understand that the Python, it's at least a little bit different, but not, or maybe I shouldn't say it's not enough different, right? That the Trooper frame was a little bit different. The Python going with Python, I get that. But if we're really going to go down that avenue, let's say Colt Manufacturing said, all right, guys, we are going to bring back the Colt Boa. We are going to, since we're not manufacturing the Trooper Mark V frame in action anymore, but we're going to put it back into production. So we're going to go through research and development. Maybe not a whole lot of research and development, since I'm sure there's schematics and everything out there, but we're gonna have to retool. We're gonna go through the whole manufacturing process, and we are going to faithfully bring back and reproduce the original Colt Boa on the same frame and the same action as the original 1985 model. Well, what would that have done to the price? Economically, that would have pushed the price significantly higher. So MSRP on this is $1,999. I have to say, I mean, there's no way they would have been able to get into a completely new product line from an action standpoint and keep the price at the same. So we might be looking at $3,000-$4,000, maybe more, for a reproduction Colt Boa. It would be faithful. It would be true to the original Boa, but the price would have priced it out of the market. So let me ask you guys, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a reproduction Boa that is at least done with what Colt had at the time, just like the original Boa, but it's economical? Or would you have rather seen Colt go back to reproducing the Mark V frame in action to the extent that they can, but have the price go significantly higher? Of course, if they did that, everybody would be complaining, oh my gosh, the Colt Boa, it's a new production gun and they're charging $4,000 or $5,000 for it. Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? So that's kind of my first, I don't want to say rebuttal, because I'm not arguing with you guys. There's a lot of valid points, but I think that a lot of the history with the Boa hasn't really been considered in some of these. And so not want to argue, but also wanting to throw some of this out there just kind of for consideration, for conversation. So kind of going back to some of the comments, Jeffrey Locke 8808 had commented, the original Mark V action wore a Python barrel. This is a Python action with a Mark V barrel attached. Not really. I mean, this is a Python style barrel. Yeah, it's a Python frame in action, but again, Colt was working with what they had at the time. Well, now, similarly to they did back in the mid 80s. So, no, I wouldn't say it's a Mark V barrel. I mean, it's still a Python-esque barrel. It's still a Boa barrel. This is kind of what a lot of this boils down to for me. This is not an exact reproduction of the Colt Boa. This is the new version of the Colt Boa, right? So I think there's a distinction. So let's see here. Mark Sarajowski, sorry, I'm completely butchering that, I'm sure. 5709 said, it's just an overpriced Python. The original Boa was not a Python. Well, okay, again, back to some of the original points. If the original, if it's just an overpriced Python, it would have been way more expensive had Colt gone to remanufacturing the Mark V. So again, what do you guys rather have? Would you rather have price, or would you rather have faithfulness? When I say faithfulness, staying true to the actual original Boa. So again, it kind of comes down to individual desire with that, I guess. Let's see here. I see spots. So mechanically, the same as production Pythons, not paying $600 more. Okay, well, again, scarcity comes into the sum, right? The Colt community, the gun collecting community in general values scarcity. This gun is going to be made for approximately a year, or less than a year. And kind of while I'm on that, there were some comments that said, oh, you said that they're only making 1,200. No, the original production was limited to 1,200. CNC has never said that they're limiting to 1,200. I never said that. CNC has indicated that production for the new Boa is going to be limited to less than a year. I don't think that's going to be 1,200. I think it's going to be more, because like I said in the first video, my serial number is 1091. So I'm going to assume that production is going to be more than just, 100 and, some more than what the serial number that I got. But we don't know for sure. I mean, hopefully we'll find out maybe in the next few months, next year. They may make a couple thousand. But either way, they're going to be relatively scarce. Definitely, it doesn't sound like as scarce as the original 1,200 that were manufactured. So yeah, if you don't want to buy basically a Python frame with a Python-esque barrel, don't. Nobody's forcing you, right? Like, this is being offered to those who are in the collector's sphere, in my opinion, for the most part, because that's a valid point, right? Like, I might as well go buy a Python. do it. Absolutely. I love the Python. I absolutely love the Python, but this is different. It's still a boa. But again, we're working with what we're getting here, right? So, let's see here. We've got, let's see, we already addressed that one. Blue's cat rhymer. I don't know. It said, I have a new Python and an anaconda. I don't feel the need to spend a lot of money to get a boa. Okay. Well, like I said, you probably shouldn't buy one. This is kind of for those, you know, if you're going to collect it, you want to throw it in the safe, give it to the grandkids down the road. If you want to shoot it like we did, great. That's awesome. But you know, not every Colt owner is the target market for this, right? That's where I think a lot of this comes in too. Just because not every single Colt buyer, Colt owner is like, oh, well, I absolutely love buying something that's a reproduction of something, but it's kind of not faithfully true to the original, but it kind of is. It's got a different roll mark. It's got the Boa roll mark, but it's a Python-esque barrel. There's plenty of other offerings out there. If you want a Python, if you want a King Cobra, if you want something else, that's great. Let's see here. I think that's kind of the majority of the comments that I wanted to hit on, but I want to know what you guys think, right? Going back to the original production idea, that the original wasn't new and novel in its own. It was a conglomeration of existing Colt parts and products that Colt put together to create the boa. So I think for a lot of the people that are commenting and saying, well, I don't like the fact that this or this, well, at least consider some of the history behind it. And personally, I think I can kind of go either way. I do like that Colt at least made it, I'm going to say economical, right? Like $2,000, still a lot of money, but a lot less than it could have been or would have been had Colt gone into manufacturing the Mark V. I can kind of make an argument either way. Would I spend $5,000 on a reproduction boa that was completely accurate? Potentially not, probably not. Would I spend $2,000? Yeah, obviously. But it just kind of depends on that individual Colt buyer. I kind of said this in the original video. It speaks to itself how popular the boa has been already, that within 5 days of the boa being announced and released, they basically sold out. All of planned production for the entire year for Colt was spoken for in 5 days. So that says that there are a lot of people out there that are interested in a Colt Boa that is manufactured on a Python frame with a Python action and a Boa barrel. So tell me what you guys think. Check out the other video. If you haven't already watched it, it's a really great video. As far as I've seen, it's really the only, or one of the only boa review videos out there on YouTube. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough. But let me guys know what you think in the comments. Make sure you're following our channel, Legacy of the Gun. We try to bring you guys some really unique content. We've got a great relationship with Colt. We've got a great relationship with some of the Smith & Wesson guys, with a lot of the collectors organizations. We travel around the country highlighting different, unusual firearms. And this is different. This is unusual. Of course, serial number 81. That's definitely unique, rare, and unusual. But if you like this kind of stuff, make sure you're following us. Check us out on, of course, we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and we've got a website, legacyofthegun.com. So really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video.